Hi everybody, I'm Skaji,
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
and welcome to the September edition of the TN Tarot thing we do,
Podcast.
video
Thing.
that we do, and a few announcements before we get started. Our in-person TN Tarot event is always on the first Friday night of the month at 6 o'clock right here at Books, Beans, and Candles in Birmingham, Alabama, with two notable exceptions. There will be no in-person event for October or December. In October, on October the 4th, we're having our Psychic Fair. So the three of us will be there, along with many other readers and lots of different disciplines, and you can get more information about that on our website and on the Facebook. So we're preparing for that the night before the event, which would be when we would be in person. December, we don't have one because Krampus is coming to town. Our annual Photos with Krampus time. And he likes to be here the night before to begin setting up as well. And nobody wants to irritate that guy.
No.
You can find out information about that when the event is posted. I don't know if it's been posted yet or not.
I believe I've already seen a Facebook event pop up for Krampus, so those tickets should be going on in the next couple of weeks, if after Psychic Fair, perhaps.
Okay. And with our Psychic Fair, it is a good idea if it's something that if you're local and you wish to attend, or if you want to drive a long way and attend, both are encouraged. But it is a good idea to try to sign up for your slots ahead of time, because our appointment slots do fill up in many cases before the day of the event.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to try to get those tickets early. It's $15 for a 10-minute session. And like I said, go to the social medias, go to our website, and you can find more information about that event.
You can purchase tickets in person, or you can give us a call over the phone, and we can go over the different divination styles, what times are available, and we can take payments that way as well. So you don't have to be in person to get those tickets.
And on the third Friday night of each month, we have Sips and Stars at 6 p.m. right here. It's an interactive astrology event. And on the fourth Monday of the month, we have our Magic City Pagans event, a different discussion topic each month. And coming up in November the 8th, 6 p.m. is our public Samhain ritual. It is recommended that you try to get here early, because once we get started, nobody's allowed into circle.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get here early enough to be able to get some parking. But that's always a very, very fulfilling experience. I can't think of anything else, Magna, and you?
Not off the top of my pretty little head.
That's everything, I think.
So tonight we're gonna by consensus we have chosen the 10 of Swords.
10 of Swords, baby.
So yeah, one of the Doom cards, one that people often go ugh when they see it show up in a reading, and we have our traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card here, and if the editor is doing their job, you'll see these cards show up big on the screen. Remind me to do my job.
Mm-hmm.
So with our 10 of Swords there, what we see is a poor fellow that's just kind of been stabbed a lot.
So I stabbed him 37 times in the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Swords, especially in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, really has that sort of downer vibe, almost through the entire suit. And a lot of traditional writings talk about it as being a pretty awful thing. But I know for myself, I see the cards as existing on a spectrum, both having positives and negatives, depending on how they show up in the reading. But it's hard to look at any of these and go, well, what's the upside?
Oh yeah, I love being stabbed at minimum 10 times.
But one of the ways of looking at that is if we consider each of the minor arcana as a point in a story.
Yeah.
At the end of the story, this energy has reached its fulfillment. And if swords are air, we can see that as it's an overwhelming thought thing. So it could indicate, hey, it's time to quit thinking so hard.
Yep.
It's time to quit beating yourself up. One thing I noticed that I like about this card is if you compare this Ten of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith with the Magician,
Mm-hmm.
you can see on his hand, assuming the editor's doing their job, the hand position is the same as what the Magician is doing in that Magician card, and has a similar clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So we can almost see that. And if we think of the Magician, we think of, smart, adept kind of folks. Well, maybe we've overdone ourselves.
It's a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
too much.
Especially since like the Magician can be seen as like the con artist. He's done every single trick of the book, and there's no more tricks. They caught on to me.
It's
And-
nice to meet you.
Did you just say it's nice to meet you?
Yes, she did.
Pun alert.
This is my one fun a year.
In older decks, the Magician was called the Juggler and was seen as a charlatan in earlier versions, especially Marseille style decks. One of the things that I do like about the Muka deck is that it has a very different kind of flavor, because we have two characters there. One of them is obviously the guy that got stabbed, but they're on a battlefield. And when this card, this is one of the decks I use for clients, it can sometimes show up with the, are we the victim or the victor? Are
Right.
we the guy that survived? So there's lots of different flavor there.
The Muka, for me especially, because I also own the deck, has a very much like if you're looking at the air quality about it, it has that kind of battle of the wits, and like someone sure is losing or winning, but it has a little bit more of that almost active participation in it a little bit, which I really like about that deck in particular. It's not really a, oh no, we've died, that you get in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's more of that, we're still kind of dying, but there's a little bit more of that engagement quality to it, that more like hand in it sort of engagement to it, so it's fun.
And so this is a new deck to me. This is Magna's deck. Tell us about the deck.
So I was really excited. I've had this deck pre-ordered for 10 months. This is the Agatha All Along tarot deck from the Marvel TV show by Andrea Hanna. And all the suits very much fall into the stories of all the trials that they do within the show. And what I liked most about this iteration of the Ten of Swords is it's not just, I've been stabbed, but in the context of the story and what we know in the show, like, this is her own doing. The consequences of her actions is what led her to be riddled with swords, which I feel like is a pretty useful bit of knowledge, because a lot of people don't realize that sometimes things suck because of choices that we have made.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So your own ambitions,
Yeah.
and your own thought processes, and your own actions have culminated in this thing, yeah.
And this one here is
It's the
Stevie's-
Fyodor Pavlov.
Fyodor Pavlov. This is one of Stevie's decks.
I like this one too because the posture of the man in the card is very much, is he currently in the process of, dying of all these wounds, but it also has like that silver lining sometimes of that Ten of Swords, which it almost looks like he's getting up to, and so it has that perseverance despite the numerous holes that are in his body right now, and that ability, I think, to begin looking at, well, what next? We hit our rock bottom, so like now what is the next stage of things? Because we can't just sit here and rot.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like about this deck is the way that the artist uses color.
I do too.
So that red color could come into, we think of blood, or we think of passion, but that can bring in that concept of determination as well.
Pasta sauce.
Pasta sauce.
Spaghetti.
And this is one of my decks, Terror of the Moon Garden. It's sort of a hippy dippy kind of vibe on things. We have dragonflies as the pommels of the swords, and our character in the bottom, she's not actually being stabbed quite yet. Maybe they're coming down, maybe they're hanging out there, and it's sort of a, if I move, bad things happen. But it has a little less immediate kind of feel to it. This is more of a warning. or concepts of the sword of Damocles, that sword that's hanging over our heads that we might need to
Right.
do something with.
Especially with the moon there, and the moon having that intrinsic tie to like intuition. There's almost that thing of no more thoughts, just vibes a little bit. Having to really kind of listen to not the chattering of your mind, but just the instinct of it a little bit, which sometimes is kind of the counterpoint, I think, to a lot of the Ten of Swords. It's just like, shh, 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 no more.
And also with the elements of the dragonflies, with the wings, swords being the element of air and all that stuff, it feels very much like oh no, all of my dreams are getting away from me. All the swords are flying away, and I don't grab, my dreams, ambitions. Oh no, I'm a barista at the age of 30 instead of an accountant. Oh no.
Also, too, especially with there being posturing, if you're using that kind of imagery, you can't really just like reach up and grab them without just cutting your hands up. So there's kind of that thing of having to let go a little bit, letting these things escape.
And in this one from the Wildwood Tarot, they call it instruction. This is the Ten of Arrows. Arrows is what they used for the element of air. That's the sword thing. And instead of a whole doom kind of vibe, they call this instruction. So if we think of it straight along the lines of air as that mental realm, someone goes through, learns a bunch of stuff, and then ultimately they're teaching someone else. Mm-hmm. They're passing that knowledge along. And that's what we see here.
We have a cat intruder.
We are being watched by voodoo.
And one of the shop cats is visiting us. And I can't see her because she's a black cat.
I just saw her eyes.
But I like that kind of take on it too, because that certainly softens that traditional sword as doom kind of vibe.
Doom and death and swords in your back.
And who knows? Maybe he's teaching the little guy to, stab somebody from a distance. That's what arrows are for.
The imagery of this one from the Fyodor Pavlov reminded me of a meme, and it kind of reflects over here. The meme of like the little wolf pup that has an arrow in its back, all pitiful, and then you have the bigger wolf with like 1,000 arrows. But like, don't worry, little guy, you got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what it's like. Is what's that quote? The slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. I probably just butchered the daylights out of that.
That might be a saying.
What dreams may come at Shakespeare, and that's probably going to recognize it because I butchered it. So here we have our Ten of Swords, and keeping in mind that it's the element of air. It's often thought, but it also has the doom vibe, or the I've survived vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And for our spread this evening, Stevie's going to take care of that for us, and so I'm going to let Stevie talk all about that.
So Mercury just got out of retrograde.
Yay.
Jesus is kind of the vibe there. So I have a spread called Shelter in Place, and it's for when the hits just won't stop. And kind of giving some clarity and some guidance pertaining to what now? It's a 5-card spread. So we have card number 1 with a bunch of names get painful. This is what is the source of the conflict, or an unseen note on the source of the conflict. Because sometimes we know what's happening, we know what's going on. So in that event, here's kind of some unseen clarity to it, some unseen little notes. How to stem the blood flow of all of these proverbial hits we just took. And that's very Ten of Swords themed thing. How to gain strength, and or how to right the ship. Again, kind of depending on what your situation is. How to occupy yourself and or be productive, besides just gnawing over whatever keeps beating you up. Then action to take to get out of this state of distress. To move the hell on, and ideally do something else. Probably not much something else.
Huh.
Yeah, so what is the source of conflict, or unseen notes on the source? We have our 5 of Wands. Well, it's pretty straightforward. You keep getting the shit beaten out of you.
So the number 5 in most traditional decks is often associated with strife or conflict, And I often think of the Five of Wands being associated with fire as sometimes it's the straight up literal argument
Yeah.
card.
It is the, like, we're just fighting. Sometimes there's a source of it, and other times it's just... It has the vibe of two people who agree with each other, but still just want to, like, go at it. Because sometimes that Five of Wands can present so cyclically feeling a little bit. We just keep beating each other up, and nothing's happening besides we hurt.
Yeah.
And so seeing this as a sort of, you know, what are some unseen things, we bring in that idea of it's almost like this is a continuous kind of
Yeah.
kind of thing going on. So maybe the unseen thing is, instead of this is continuing to go, maybe why?
Yeah. Having to look at why do you just keep getting hit over the head repeatedly? Because it's not even like the catharsis of the fight, right? It's not even like the Five of Swords where like, it's ended at least. We're just fighting.
Because of the lack of swords so far, to me, the source of conflict is that rage against the machine. I'm going to keep fighting no matter what,
Yeah.
but there's a lack of communication because you're so hot-headed.
Yeah.
And
It's passionate, not constructive.
and nude people in the tarot are often a sign of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
So we could read this as the conflict comes from where people feel vulnerable,
Yeah.
so they feel the need to defend themselves. And so maybe addressing I recognize how you're feeling, so that might be another one of the unseen messages.
Right. We have how to stem the blood flow. Just be happy, man.
Don't worry.
Ignore your problems. It's all fine.
I think with like the Sun card, it's kind of that looking at the grander scheme of things. This sucks. There's no looking around sucks. But is it the only thing you have going on for you right now?
And the Sun card often not in this deck because we have an older person,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times it has a child or a younger person
Mm-hmm.
in it, and it brings in that sense of childlike wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we deal with it? Well, maybe sometimes we just need to find a thing that brings us, just even if it's just a little bit of happiness, something that taps into sort of just a childlike feeling of awe.
Yeah. And it's like a little bit of control, but it's not like the Emperor or something where it's like control, but it does have that kind of sense of, I think, like, I might not have a hand on the steering wheel at all times, but you're kind of content with whatever road you're going down. There's kind of that sense of like, okay, this is fine.
You and you alone are in control of your own happiness,
Mm-hmm.
so take steps to measure that. That doesn't have to be big things.
Yeah,
You know?
it's chill
Go get you
things.
some ice cream.
A coloring book.
A color. Some silly putty.
Love me some silly putty. It's a very magical device.
So card number 3, how to gain strength and then right the ship. We have that Ace of Wands, which I think, especially having that contrasted with that 5, is just like, have you considered just doing something the hell else a little bit? You're still keeping the core of whatever you feel so passionate about, and that's cool. But doing something that is new or something that is at least differently flavored or differently paced, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But something that's fun passion instead of just like, I'm going to burn down everyone's houses and then my own kind of passion.
And
I'm going to become an arsonist.
and the inspiration and expression that's often indicated by that Ace of Wands is ties in real well with some of the ideas of finding a sense of joy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's a thing that really lights you up that you haven't done in a while?
Right. Card number 4, how to occupy yourself. Be productive. The Force, you see, with the 4 of Pentacles. You gotta be, I think it's a nice tempering factor, really, when you look at, like, the Sun and, like, these 2 Wand cards, whereas the Pentacles is like, we want to do that. Baby stepping, though. Really being very reasonable and very upfront about your, like, resources, about what you're capable of. What does your energy look like, man?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've been screaming, crying, throwing up over here. You can't just, like, pick up and go. And so the 4 of Pentacles, I think, is more of just like, let's get our lives underneath us and then
And-
see how you feel.
It does bring in that sense of stability with that number 4.
Yeah.
I also like the illustration of the 4 of Pence in this one, because in most tarot decks that I've seen, at least, it's always somebody who has like a pentacle in front of
Yeah.
him, a foot on each one, and one on his head and whatnot. But this one, she's holding 3 of them behind her.
Yeah.
So sometimes we don't have to air out all of our dirty laundry to the entire world. Sometimes we can just keep some of these little things for us.
That's a special tool for later. Card number 5, action to take to get out of this kind of state of distress overall. What's the next step of things? We got the Fool card reversed.
Don't just hightail it, man.
And it's weird when the Fool shows up in reverse, because some of the traditional meanings are, and I tell clients, when the Fool shows up, it's like, I'm not saying you're a fool. But when it shows up reversed, oh yeah, maybe you should think through some things.
Yeah. I don't really see it as like a strong deterrent of like, you're wrong in wanting the things that you want, but like, are you going to say, are you going to go through this kind of come to Jesus moment? You're going to re-stabilize, ideally, and then you just turn around and do the same shit again. It kind of has that vibe of like, you have good ideas, but we can't just kick ourselves back up to step 1. And having to really take that slow consideration and really lean into the pentacles a little bit.
And maybe we do need to pay a little more attention before we walk off the cliff.
How deep is it? How far does it go?
All the way down.
Are there piranhas at the bottom?
It's quicksand. When
Yeah.
I was a kid, man, everybody was afraid of quicksand.
Well, if you hit it fast
everywhere.
enough, you're fine if you're jumping off the cliff, I guess.
Ooh, what if it's just like 60 feet and then oobleck?
It breaks your knees.
And then you think.
Because you can't move yet.
So this is our, what do we call it? Shelter in place spread.
Yep.
Before we get way off into non-Newtonian fluids. And I think this will do it for us. I think we're done.
Endgame Oobleck.
We want to thank y'all for taking the time to pay attention to our silliness for the evening. And we want to invite you to come to the in-person Tea and Tarot event, the first Friday night of each month at 6 p.m. right here at Books, Beans, and Candles in Birmingham, Alabama. Thank you so much. My name's Skaji.
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Magna.
Safe journeys.